The Berkshire UFO sightings are one of the famous UFO-related events in American history. Multiple witnesses gave strikingly similar accounts of strange events that occurred on the evening of September 1st, 1969 in Berkshire County, Massachusetts. They reported seeing strange lights along with other occurrences. Some even reported being abducted and taken aboard a strange craft. Others experienced a phenomenon known as missing time. Intrigued? Keep watching today's video, where we will give you an in-depth account of this amazing UFO incident, which is still talked about more than 50 years after the fact. From witness testimonies to the aftermath, we're talking about all that and more. Have I caught your interest? Well then, hit that subscribe button to watch more videos. Join our channel for more amazing curiosity content. Let's begin by telling you what happened that night in 1969 according to some witnesses. 1. Tommy Warner. Tommy was just a normal boy, happily colouring with his friends on September 1st. It was getting late, and he went to look out the window. It was there a voice told him, "You need to go home." Tommy said it scared the daylights out of him. He turned to his babysitter Debbie to tell her he had to leave, believing it was God's voice advising him to do so. Tommy immediately ran out of the house. Immediately after, he felt an energy inside of him, which he claims was the fear of mental telepathy. He said he thought he was flying, but Debbie said he was running in one spot, not moving a muscle. Turning to his left, Tommy claims to have seen a UFO falling out of the sky before shining a beam on him. His hands were pulled behind him by an unknown force, and the air was sucked right out of him. Debbie corroborates Tommy's story, describing how the light was on him when, in the blink of an eye, he vanished. Tommy said the next thing he remembers is lying on the other side of the property, being held on the ground by a beam. After a minute, he turned around, looked up to the sky as the beam vanished. Debbie claims the event was 7 minutes long. 2. Melanie Kirchhofer. On the same evening, Melanie Kirchhofer, 14 at the time, was enjoying an ice cream by Lake Mansfield with her family. In a similar way to Tommy, the family claims to have seen a blinding white light and a craft coming from under the water in front of them. Her father attempted to follow the UFO while she and her siblings screamed out in fear. She remembers levitating and being on a ship. Tommy claims he remembers seeing Melanie on the craft. She adds, "I was in a room with just young people. They were like children, and they would disappear one by one." Melanie claims the next thing she knew, she was alone on the lakefront and had to find her own way home. Despite not knowing Tommy, Melanie says she felt an immediate connection with him when they first met, a connection similar to that of siblings. 3. Thomas Reed. In Sheffield, a town nearby to Tommy and Melanie, Thomas Reed and his family drove through the Sheffield Bridge on the same night. As they got off the bridge, the family's car was lit up with a bright white light. Thomas describes it as daylight, but it gets creepier. All of them noted how there was perfect silence for a moment, until the sounds of crickets and frogs erupted around them. That's the last time Thomas remembers being in the car, believing that he's missing around 3 hours from his life. During those missing hours, Thomas suspects he was on a ship, but he can't be too sure. The family came to in front of a drugstore 1.5 miles away from the site of the bizarre occurrence. Thomas's mother was driving before the incident as well as after. His grandmother was in the driver's seat, although she never drove. 4. Jane Green. At around dusk on September 1st, 1969, Jane was driving with her friend Mary DeGrace from Stockbridge to Great Barrington. While driving down the road, they saw several bright lights ahead of them. At first, Jane thought there had been an accident and that the lights were from police cars. As she got closer, she realized that she could not drive anymore because the lights were so bright. She decided to pull to the side of the road. The car in front of them did the same. Jane and Mary got out of the car to get a better look. They saw a huge object floating over the road in front of them. It was so large that Jane could not see the end of it from either side. She could not tell what color it was, but she recalled that it was tall. She did not see any windows or hear any noise coming from it. Within a few seconds, the object lifted up, went to the left, lifted up again, and went over the mountains. Moving on, let's talk about what happened after the sightings. Jane Green said that she was a non-believer of UFOs and flying saucers until that night. She recalled that after seeing the craft, she drove into Great Barrington and pulled over in front of the family store on Main Street. She and Mary were in disbelief as to what had happened. She went inside the store and told her husband about their experience. He told her to report it to the radio station. She went there and met with Tom J., the director of WSBS Radio. As you could imagine, he did not believe her. Within a few hours, he was overwhelmed with calls from other people with similar sightings. He heard so many calls that night, he actually called the police department to see if they were hearing about it as well. He then got on the air and asked for listeners to call him and report where they had seen the UFOs. He received reports from all over the surrounding area. This included Pittsfield, Stockbridge, Lenox, Egremont, and Sheffield, Massachusetts. He also received out-of-state reports from nearby Canaan, Connecticut. The calls were coming in from groups of people that in many cases had never met each other before. It's believed that these radio reports have since been erased. The Barrington Police Department did not have any records of these reports, as the most significant sighting was in Sheffield. Sheffield resident Eddie Galotta recalled that shortly after the sightings, people told his father, the chief of police, about the flying object they had seen. The witnesses said that the objects were landing and taking off in fields outside of town. His father did not believe the sightings were genuine. However, Eddie and his friends began going out at night, hoping to see the objects. They never saw anything. So how did it affect the witnesses' lives later? Tommy Warner recalled discussing his experience with friends. However, after a while, he decided to stop telling people about it because everyone thought he was crazy. People often avoided him in high school because of what happened. Eventually, he decided to paint his experience as a form of therapy. Melanie recalled that her sister always believed her. She also told her boyfriend at the time about it. He believed her as well. At the time, they were the only ones who knew about it. When Thomas Reed went to school, he would talk about his experience often. However, this led to fights with other students. Thomas remembered that many people in town treated them differently due to their experience. In fact, people tailgated him as he drove home. One driver actually followed him up the driveway. Disturbingly, one man jumped up on a table and exposed himself to Tom, saying, "Well, if you want to see something out of this world, I'll show you something out of this world." Overall, the experience was very hard on him. Eventually, he had to sell both his diner and house and move away. Jane Green was relieved to learn that others had seen the UFOs because she was certain that no one would believe her. Recent stories about US Navy pilots seeing UFOs has led her and others to feel more comfortable telling their stories. Melanie noted that she had no reason to make up her story, as it was not a fun or positive experience. Tom stated that he feels better now that more people are coming forward with their experiences. Jane hopes that people will be more open-minded about UFOs and their experiences. Were there any further investigations? Berkshire historian Gary LaVilla looked into the case, but could not find any reports of UFO sightings in the local newspaper for the month of September '69. He believes that it was not reported because people thought that it was a joke. In fact, he talked to a local editor who said that he had heard about the sightings, but thought they were fake. As a result, he did not write anything about them in the paper. However, a Sheffield police officer was dispatched to look for the UFO after being flooded with reports. In February 2015, the Great Barrington Historical Society and Museum confirmed the Reed sighting and officially inducted the case into US history. In doing so, Mr. Reed, who took a polygraph and passed, was finally vindicated. A concrete monument was erected outside the bridge to commemorate their sighting. Mr. Reed now manages the Tom Reed UFO Monument Park. He receives full support from sponsors, something he's very grateful for. Did you find today's video interesting? Well, you can learn about more fascinating stuff by watching 20 Bizarre Laws from Around the World, or 14 Countries That May Not Exist in 20 Years. Do you believe in UFOs? Let us know in the comments section below.